If it feels like it's been ages since I've uploaded, that's because it in fact has been an age and a half since I've put up any videos. The issue that I was encountering, I couldn't get any original ideas out. And with me, the thing is, I very much prefer to put out content that you guys are actually going to enjoy and that stands out compared to most of the dreadful self-development and business content you get out there on YouTube these days. And I would much rather just make something that I think is worth making. And today I was listening to Alex Hormozi, 21 Brutal Truths About Human Nature. This is Chris Williamson's podcast. And on the podcast, he mentions that his content feels right to him because he makes content that he knows only he can say because he's actually done those things. So I thought today would be the perfect opportunity to tell you guys how we managed to bring in 30K in 7 days through selling digital products, how we managed to make 300K in a year of sales, and how we started out, like the real beginning. And in the beginning, I was just doing some pretty low-level freelance work, nothing crazy, nothing interesting either. It was tedious and annoying for everyone involved, both my clients and myself, because they had to deal with my inexperienced ass providing them with pretty fucking terrible work. And I want to shine light on how that doesn't matter anymore, and all of those failures have pretty much just allowed us to make a well-operating company that's broken its profit expectations within a few months. And I think that if there are any lessons to dig out from underneath everything that I talk about today, I hope you guys find them. And if not, I'll do my best to point them out. So I'm going to change up the format a little bit to make it easier. Let's get started. So about 2 years ago, my friend and I, this being me, and then we'll make my friend another color. My friend and I wanted to get into the world of online business. And around this time, a very specific kind of character just became very popular all over YouTube, and that's none other than Iman Gadzhi. And I mean, Iman, I gotta give this man the credit. He knew exactly how to build out a story that people would latch onto. I mean, think about it. The slogan itself, I'm rooting for you, at the end of every video. Now you, as a hyper-motivated, hyper-hormonal teenager, just couldn't get the thought out of your mind that, wow, this guy who's super successful believes in me and thinks that I'm going to manage. So since Iman was what we were primarily consuming, me and my friend were watching so much Iman that we decided that the best way, while we were talking between one another, would be to start our own agency. My friend had then left to university at the time, so we couldn't have done it together, and our egos would often get in the way of one another, so there was probably no opportunity that me and him could have worked together. So because of that, also very important to build out your team, so, you know, this kind of ego play exists, but is competitive instead of detrimental, where you're just making people feel bad for being themselves, which doesn't work great. So me and my friend decided that we would start our own marketing agencies. Now, my friend went to university, and this was his, let's call, flow chart, his path. He did the research. We both did the research. Now next, what he did is gonna shock you. I mean, you're not gonna see this coming, audience. He did something I call giving up. Now, why did this happen? God knows. I'll explain later how it happened, exactly how it happened. Me, on the other hand, I went around, so this is where the journey for my friend ends. Not literally, but he started this idea of wanting to do an agency. He did all the research, he GPT'd all of it, researched every single browser window, whatever the hell. He looked around everywhere on how exactly to start an agency, plus Iman's content. And Iman's content was actually quite helpful because it breaks down the most important elements. And the most important elements we're going to go over a little bit later. But the point is, he did the research and then he gave up. What I did is, I did the research and I beat him out where he couldn't get to because I stopped when I figured out one thing. I needed a brand. I needed a reason for people to trust me and to buy from me. Now, my problem with Twitter gurus and people all over the web currently saying that, hey, all you need is one great offer and then you just need to find someone to sell it to. Who are you that they should buy from you? As good as your offer is. You can only make your offer so good that someone would buy from you until it gets to the point where your offer is just a free service entirely or a free product. And at that point, the only benefit you have is that your reputation improves as the guy who gives out this great free thing and he's an idiot because he's giving it out for free. No, that's not how you want to do things. I knew that I needed a brand. And so after you get a brand, which is, a logo, your company details, vision statement, mission statement, this is how I was traditionally believed to view business. Eventually, at some point, it's going to give you the credibility that will get people to buy from you. Me and my partner then made MYG Media. So that means, unlike my other friend, we actually won out. So I didn't know how to start a company. So I got with a friend who does know how to start a company. And with his help, we created a partnership and our own company with our own brand. And we started selling to clients. And I'll get into all the offers and all of the mistakes we made along the way later on in future videos. But the point I'm trying to make is all we needed to do was not stop after the research. Now, the question that was bugging me for a while was, why did he give up? Like, yeah, okay, you've got university on the side. But at the same time, you're finding time to go hang out with friends and do whatever hedonistic activity you can come up with. And you could replace that with more work. So you're studying university, you're getting a business MBA, for example. And then you have your personal company, the brand you're trying to grow on the other side. Why didn't he just do that? The issue is that my friend, unlike us, he got all this input. Okay, so you need to set up an LLC. Great, you need a guy for that. That's another point. Okay, you need registration papers. That takes time. You need to find another guy for that. If you don't know anyone, find an online service that you can trust. Keyboard. That's a keyboard. Find an online service you can trust that can set up an LLC for you, because maybe you don't have a network and maybe you're one of those people. And I can recommend some services, by the way. I don't know if I'm legally allowed to do that, but there are some great services that will literally help you set up a company for anything, even an e-commerce dropshipping brand. Anyways, LLC is one. That's complicated. That takes time. But hey, the more important thing, what's your product? How are you different? Why should people buy from you and not some other marketing agency that's been there for longer? What's your unique selling proposition? That's USP. It's extremely important. And then you have two other factors. What can we put in here? What's something that can overwhelm a person? You need to pay for tools. Okay, so budget. And budget kind of goes into everything. So if you have money, it's a hell of a lot easier to develop a product because you can pay people to consult you on how to develop a correct product that can be market competitive. And nowadays it's very easy. Like, I think that if anyone is paying for consultancy, you should be paying for consultancy from people that are offering new age services rather than what I consider traditional services. And traditional services would be, I'd say, content creation, ad management is another one. These are pretty standard, and a lot of modern tools and modern social media try to automate the process for you as much as possible. You have more money to put into the advertising budget instead of giving that money to other people for them to manage your ads. Bam, there it is. So budget, that includes a hell of a lot of things. You need to outsource work if you don't have skills. If you don't have skills, you need to pay for courses, get accreditation. And not university accreditation, mind you, practical accreditation. Another way you could do that is by just offering to do a service for free, as badly and horrible as you would do it on the first time. And of course you would. I mean, it's your first time. What do you expect? You're not going to magically create the Mona Lisa on your first web design or your first video edit or your first e-commerce store. Whatever service you pick to give out to people, you're going to do crap on your first time. And honestly, one piece of advice that I can give anybody, I think it's Jensen Huang, something like that, the CEO of NVIDIA. I read somewhere that he said that he's ready to do any one of his employees' work, and he's ready to do it 10x better than they would, just to show them that at any point they're replaceable. Now, as badass and as much of an asshole as that makes him sound, where is NVIDIA right now? Highest valued company by market cap across the entire tech sector, maybe in the whole world. I think it might be the highest valued company in the world. And that just shows that his methods work, and the reason his method works is because by doing every part of the business, which in its own way is something like registering the company, figuring out the budget. Okay, so you're the finance guy in your own company. Figuring out the product. You're the R&D department. You're the marketing. Right, that's another thing. You gotta do your own marketing. You have to get people find out about you, which means making content, which takes time. All of these things require a lot of time. All of this is only possible because if you remember the most important part about starting any kind of business, online or otherwise. You have to have perspicacity beyond what your opponents have, and they are your opponents. And my friend didn't realize this. He wanted to hang out with his buddy, go out with his friends. Let's make 3 buddies, because you know that's the magic amount. He wanted to go out shopping. He wanted to watch some Netflix or YouTube, but not helpful YouTube. Although even if you watch helpful YouTube, I'll tell you one thing. If you watch a lot of self-development content or business content and they don't provide anything but this whole storytelling aspect and then tell you something like, I'm rooting for you, eventually that's not gonna do you any good. Iman's videos, I'm telling you, they're great. He has a lot, especially his older stuff. If you look at his older stuff, you will literally get to know the journey of how he got there. And a lot of his marketing agency success, which a lot of people doubt if he ever had, and I don't, the reason I know he had a successful marketing agency is because he was releasing content and his content was doing well. He could show up to companies and be like, yeah, here's your proof of why you should work with me. So he can charge higher prices because of that, because he's a higher tier player in the marketing game. He's younger too. He knows stuff about social media. That's what companies are thinking when they went to him. And of course he'd get crazy invoices and be making 10K a month and then be spending an insane amount on very, very high quality video edits, Mr. Iman. And this is not glaze. I'm just saying that he did a good job. He worked through it well. He knew that he just had to record content, post videos all the time, every day, every week. And eventually, he'd gain the audience, and then he could go to companies and be like, hey, check me out. Here's my social proof. There it goes. So back to my friend here. My friend wanted to hang out with buddies, spend money on LV, watch Netflix and YouTube, and then, of course, most importantly, he wanted to feel good. Now, can you guess how many of these things, let me bring you in closer. Can you guess how many of these things are actually helpful to you when you're starting out in entrepreneurship? I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. It's 0. None of them. In fact, every single one of these gets in the way. It makes things harder. So if my friend were to have taken every single one of those elements away, and I mean it, even the fucking feel happy element, because there's gonna be so many times where you literally wanna give up entirely and go back to studying in university and just not live out your dream of having something of your own. There's gonna be so many times where that's almost gonna break you down entirely. And the test that you have to go through is to push through it regardless. And you can, because I did. And trust me, the odds were fucking against me. And the odds, I'm telling you, are against you too. So if the odds are automatically against you, you have even more fucking reason to get after it. That is the reason. Because you know that the enemy is bigger and the enemy is already telling you no. Which means even if you don't fulfill, if you don't go after that purpose of yours, if you don't start that business, that agency, you still lose. So what's the difference between you trying your very fucking best, like Colonel Sanders, and actually going after that business model and performing like you've never have before, sacrificing years of your life that you wish you would have spent in frivolous encounters of teenagehood? And trust me, you need 2 years of drinking and partying. You've had enough. That's enough. You don't need more. What for? You want to have fun? Why? It's not gonna last. That's not staying around. You'll have all those memories, sure, but you were drunk. How much do you remember? How much? Huh? It doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense to me. Maybe you need a certain frame of mind to be able to pursue these things. And maybe that's why my friend, sad face that he is, didn't manage. And he got left behind. That's just how it is. Because I was the guy that said no. I was the guy that had that friend. And that friend wanted to do nothing but party, feel happy. And I wasn't happy doing that. I knew that I was ready for something more. And I knew that something more meant a lot of emotional triumph over myself and over the obstacle that I've chosen. So we chose the same obstacle. And me and my friend were so similar, I could honestly tell you we were the same people. We were the same person. We like doing the same things. We like to party the same way, do the same dumb shit, act like degenerates the exact same way. The only difference is that when I saw the amount of work that it would take to get there, I didn't freeze. My mind didn't lock out. I didn't get scared. Because for me, I was okay with sacrificing Netflix. I was okay with saying no, free time, to time for myself, to just let time get shredded, because this is a paper shredder of your time. Hanging out with your friend who doesn't support your goals is a paper shredder for your time. It turns it to dust. You inhale it, you'll cough. Nasty. Paper shredders are terrible. Even though they have nothing to do with this, I'm just trying to really cement the metaphor in your mind. Are you sure you want to succeed? Because you have to be able to say no to these. You want to spend on your marketing budget? You want to spend on the tools you'll need to progress your company forward? Maybe one day even have a fucking IPO. God knows. You don't know. You could. You could get there. Then no, you don't go out and you don't party and you don't eat out for hours enjoying the good time. Unless you earned it. But hell, how do you know you earned it? Because you set your own metrics at the end of the day. And if this is a competition, then I gotta worry about this guy with the top hat. Now he's a real problem because this guy only worries about work. There are some serious Wall Street law-orientated MFERSers who are ready to commit 80 hours a week to just working. That's 11 hours a day, somewhat. 11 hours to just working flat out. And they're ready to put their whole reputation, their whole career on it. That's the life they've chosen. Now, I can't do this. I know this is not for me. So I chose for this not to be my life. Whether for better or for worse, and maybe, yes, that will stop me from reaching the pinnacle that they've reached. But I chose instead that I'll say no. I'll say no to the happy hangman. I'll say no to the Netflix. I'll say no to going out often and spending all my money on experiences. And instead, I'll say yes to spending time with family. I have 2 women in my life that I love with all of my heart. Spending time with family, working on my business for hours on end. I mean hours. I pull 60 to 70 hour weeks. I ain't no different. I just can't do that crazy commitment over there. And I chose 1 day a week where I can go and meet a friend and hang out and have a conversation. Here's the most amazing part. If you start a business with your friends, and I got lucky because my business is being run by myself and my best buddy in the world. If you do that, you're already hanging out with your friend. It's the same thing as going into an entry-level job and meeting the colleagues, and those are the same colleagues that will one day be the people that you're going to think back to for the rest of your life. Because they helped shape you. They shaped the post-formative years, the time after school. And I mean, how many of your school buddies are you still going to talk to? Think about it. It's going to be years past. If you're lucky, not too many of them. And that will be a good thing because most people don't change and most people don't improve and most people never go off that path because they're so scared of the societal pressure they're going to face from their friends, from their family, but most specifically from their friends for not fitting in. My advice, if you genuinely think it's better, fucking go for it. Go for it. Okay, this video took a lot of turns because I speak a lot of things, I say a lot of things, and I don't like to script because I feel like I get a lot more out of just talking naturally. I should just stream. If you guys think I should just stream, I'll happily just make a streaming setup and we'll keep the whiteboard format and, you know, every weekend I'll jot these out. Here's the thing. The biggest piece of advice I can leave you is to not be like my friend. To not give up when it seems like everyone else is ahead of you and that it's too late for you. I don't care if you're 23 or 27 or you're 40 and you have arthritis and your wife is nagging. Whatever it is, you can start with anything again. And nobody but you can stop you. Literally nobody can tell you that you can't be a doer in this case. You can't pursue this career. Why not? Hell, yes, it's gonna be more difficult if you do it later. That's why, me personally, I decided to do it now. That's why for me, my slogan is not that I'm rooting for you. It's the best piece of advice that I could give anybody that I wish somebody would have told me that summarized into 2 words. And that's start now. Literally, start now. Because there won't be a better time than now. And you know it. And more importantly, the longer you wait, well, as you know how the saying goes, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. So my advice is, the trick of partying, you can save that for your 30s and 40s. When it's okay to get liver disease or whatnot, then go ahead, go for it. But you're young. Until the age of 26, 27, I'd say your brain is fully fucking capable of developing all these new neural pathways that will just allow you to upgrade your own character. You'll be a new human being. That's power. Thought to reality. That's real power. You don't need Robert Greene to tell you all these social semantics. That stuff's not important. I think if you do pick up Robert Greene, you should read the book Mastery, because power over yourself, you'll be able to see through people. That's the whole message behind David Goggins. All of these people are really just trying to tell you that you should do what they're doing now. You should have started with the pursuit of something great, something beautiful, something worth doing for you right now. And if you walk away with any piece of value from this video, whether it's that you shouldn't give up when it seems like there's so many opportunities. Just pick one that fits your social character, that fits your intellect, your abilities, and stick with it. Go through with it. Don't switch opportunities. Just do one until you get some result. Because when you get a result that you're happy with, that satisfies you, all you need to figure out is how to replicate that result. Because if you replicate it, you won. And that's that. So, yeah. I got nothing more to rant about. So I'm gonna leave it here. And one thing that I wish I was, to my friend especially, is I wish I was more supportive instead of competitive. I wish I told him that he could, because not all people can be self-motivated. Although I believe that everyone should be, in the beginning, you need to cultivate this voice and speak well to yourself and not say these words. I hate this, these specific words. It's too late. I'm too tired. I'm too old. This stuff is heartbreaking to hear because you see so many people that live with that as if it's a life sentence. You're saying it to yourself. You're writing your own life sentence. Why would you want that? Get after it and don't stop. Just keep doing more. And don't do it for the goal. Do it for the point of doing it. Because what you'll learn about yourself along the way is going to make you a 10 times more confident human being. Me, 1 year ago, could not release content like this and just feel comfortable about putting whatever out. But I know that people will still find meaning or purpose or some kind of value in my message because they know I'm not faking it. 1 year ago, I would have been regurgitating the information somebody else was telling me. So I say, become experienced before you try to spread your experience with the world. Share it with the world. Become capable. And then, like a smithy teaches his apprentice how to smith, you can do the same on a scale that back in the medieval ages would have been hitherto undreamt of. Yes, I did just say hitherto undreamt of. Good luck. Get rich, buy a Blancpain, not a Rolex.